smack it till it's solid. We're gonna give her everything we got.
It smells wonderful.
I love the smell of silicone, actually.
Really?
Very vinegary.
It is, actually.
I want some chips.
Salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar chips.
All right, Lite Brite fam. We got a pretty big package today.
Yeah! Oh, not me? Not me.
Not Chris.
Oh.
Sorry. Let's say hello. What's up, Lite Brite Nation?
What's up, Lite Brite Nation?
So the big package is actually, well, bam, that. I'm sure you guys are wondering what's in the box. Chris is gonna show us like a magic trick. Ready? Go for it. Hey. Isn't it beautiful?
It's a V6! No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is super exciting because this is our first in-house Hemi swap.
Hemi swap, yes. We've done a couple of these before.
Yeah.
There's a couple in the driveway that we've done.
This is true.
But this is the first one we're gonna do at home.
Yes. We're looking forward to this. Obviously, we don't know if it's gonna go as smoothly as possible, but
I have faith.
yeah.
Let's see if we can knock this out in a day. You ready?
Set.
Go. This right here is a crate, 392 from America's Most Wanted. So when you have us do a swap, this is what you get. Just like this in the crate. I know you've seen these videos before. This is the first one we're gonna do in-house. What we have here is a 500 horsepower, 392 cubic inch, 6.4 liters of Fury from America's Most Wanted. So this whole kit comes from America's Most Wanted on a crate just like this, and we will install it in your Jeep. This is an 8 HP 75. So this is an 8-speed automatic. They have their custom machined bell housing to go to your transfer case out of the 3.6. Should take us about an hour to finish this swap, so stay tuned.
So we went from a day to an hour.
To an hour. You'll watch this whole thing happen in an hour.
Not only did we get this ginormous box with a beautiful engine and trans in it, we also got a table full of goodies. I'm gonna have Chris give you the rundown on what everything is.
What?
Yeah.
So this whole swap comes absolutely complete, ready to run minus fluids, because we don't get fluids, but we get an updated or upgraded oil cooler. Beck's favorite part. She's gonna have to weld these motor mounts onto the frame. They are keyed and located, so you can't put them in the wrong spot. Fuel lines, added fuel lines to go to the new engine. Trans lines that are billet. They have billet ends on them, so they're not just clip-in like the factory, so these are really neat. The boot filters, we have to relocate the washer bottle and the reservoir, the coolant reservoir. So they come with their own bracket and extension harness to move them to the other side. We get new radiator hoses, exhaust hangers, brand new O2s, all of them. So it comes with all brand new O2s, all four.
Nice.
Hose clamps, that's the intake box shield guy thing, and a bunch of extra vacuum lines and stuff. And underneath the table, we have a full exhaust, new Cats MagnaFlow mufflers, and a new radiator. It comes with an aluminum radiator with the big fan.
I was gonna say, it doesn't look like the LJ's radiator.
No, it's a little bit bigger. A little bit.
Yeah. Well, cool. Because Chris and I want to do lots of Hemi swaps in the future from AMW, I am gonna go ahead and inventory all this stuff, make a checklist, so that way, like, we know that we have everything beforehand, before we, like, completely rip into this thing, separate it, and then realize that we might not have what we need. So gonna start to do that, and then Chris is going to show you guys, does this Jeep have a name?
I don't think he's named it. I
No?
don't think he's named it. He's never mentioned a name
Okay.
about it.
Well, you can go over the Jeep and
So,
show them all.
cue ball here.
Cue ball.
Anyways, here we have Craig's 2019 Jeep Rubicon. She's got some upgrades already. It does have Dynatrac 60s front and rear. It's got all the Baja lights. It handles really well, but now he just wants to put some more power in it. He's got the big Fox shocks in it. They're pretty nice. We are gonna put sliders on it. I have to go pick those up. It's a very, very good looking Jeep. I like this Jeep with all the paint matched accessories on it. With the anodized red wheels. Those are pretty nice. Yeah, this thing is pretty well set up already. Now we're just gonna make it go fast.
Inventory checklist is done, so I guess we can go ahead and get this thing on the lift and get started. All right, so we have the fenders off, the coolant has drained, and then I wanted to show you guys Chris's lovely organization skills. Nope, come over here. You're gonna show them.
If it comes off the left front of the motor, it goes in this bucket. If it comes off the right front, and then the left rear and the right rear. And then this is all the big stuff goes in this, and then we have other buckets that have like, when you have a lot of stuff, i.e. fender liners. The fender liner bolts all go in one big bucket.
I love it. It's really good work. Also, while I was taking off the fenders, we had some of these, I call this a squish nut. It's called a, what is it?
A blind nut?
A blind nut.
Or a rib nut?
Or a riv nut. I call it a squish nut because you like, you squish. And you know what, I'm just not even gonna go into detail about it because, yeah, mind in the gutter. Anyhow, there were some here and they like binded up and broke off. So I just wanted to tell you guys, there was just 2 of them, and luckily we have extras to put in there, so no problem. But when you put in inner fenders, you should definitely put anti-seize on there so that way they don't bind up and they just break loose and come out nicely.
So one thing we have to do now, or the next thing we have to do now, is disconnect the chassis from the body. There's a couple of connectors in here that go, the harnesses run down the chassis and some of them stay with the body. So we have to disconnect these. The steering column is another big one. What you must do before you disconnect steering column, wrap the seatbelt through the steering wheel, make sure it's centered, and wrap it through and connect it up. Because if you disconnect the steering column and that steering wheel starts to spin, it will rip the clock spring that's in it. And then your airbags don't work, your horn doesn't work, your dash goes crazy. So before we take this apart, we're gonna wrap the steering wheel with the seat belt. So you just pull the seat belt down, wrap it through here, and connect it up. Now the steering column won't twist and rip this clock spring out of this thing. So now we can do whatever we want under there.
All right, so Chris is pulling off the last little bit, and then we will be able to separate the body from the chassis. Everything is disconnected. Tools are off the Jeep, because we all know people forget that.
Don't forget those.
Because then once you leave the tools up there and it gets lifted up and then you're like, oh, what did I do with that?
Yeah.
Then only realizing you have to bring the body back down on the lift. So,
I think we are ready.
Yep, so Chris just has to grab like the trans lines and stuff like that once it starts to come up. I think that's it, right, Chris?
I think so.
All right, let's do it.
There's a lot going on in this one. Just trying to make sure we don't get anybody hooked up. Yeah, so far so good. I think this is gonna go with the body.
You look pretty good on this side.
All right.
The tray already cleared. No sleeping on the job, Chris.
I'm sorry. So I know everybody's fought with these because I used to fight with these. The e-brake cables that have the clip in the round thing, and you can't get them out because there's like a bunch of fingers you got to push all at the same time. So you take a 13 millimeter box end wrench and you just cut a slot in it so that it fits over the cable. Then you take this 13 and you just run it over all the fingers and it comes right out. Tech tip of the day.
So right now he's just lifting the Jeep up slowly and checking as he goes to make sure nothing's being snagged or caught up in the process of separating.
That one's easy. Ta-da! There we go. We are officially disconnected. Nice.
All right, phase 1 complete.
Yeah, on to phase 2. Roll it outside and yank this motor out.
Another tip.
All right, so we had to pull these donuts off, right? Let's just put this back on here. You gotta pull those donuts off. Now you like to use a pry bar, but if I was to use a pry bar, I'd crush these brake lines. Instead of just using the pry bar, I use a little hammer boy here, and I'll just put it behind there so I'm on the hammer and not the brake lines when I pry this off. I just had. Whoop, whoop, it's all slippery now. Whoop, doop.
Well, that was another tip, was to spray it with WD-40.
WD-40, also a little sauce that should come right off. Anyway, it's off.
It's on the tip.
It's on the tip.
Can you see her?
Yeah, but I don't know if she's. Oh yeah, she just went out the other way. Oh yeah, here she comes back the other way. Come here, girl.
Gross. Just don't fling her on me.
Oh, there she goes. Oh, it's not.
What is it?
It's a wolf. It's a wolf spider.
Oh.
Right there.
Oh. Fuck that. She's right there. Okay, it's not a black widow, everybody. Looking good, looking good. Woo!
Now we're gonna push this back up. She's just gonna do it all by herself.
I am.
Let's just get that up there. Ready, Freddy?
Yep.
Push! Giving it all I got, Captain. That's good. I got blocks in it.
Okay.
Woo! Next, we chop these off. These guys gotta go. And then, yeah, one of these bolts wouldn't come off of this plate under there, so I'm gonna figure out how to get that off still, too. So those guys right there, they never wanna come off. And I broke all mine, so I got one left in there to get off so that we can get this one single skid plate off. All right, let's get to cutting.
Another Chris and Beck tip. We're using the creeper to transport.
Yeah, so now what we have to do, because this is an 8 HP, we have to take this billet adapter supplied by America's Most Wanted so that we can put this onto this T-case and then put this T-case onto the 8-speed. So you just have to take the stock planetary gears out of the back of that cover and put them in the new AMW cover like so.
The hardest part of this whole thing was honestly getting the snap ring and the gasket out of the other.
One, yeah.
But we got super lucky and they both came right out.
Smack it till it's solid. Gotta put the retaining ring back on this set, and then you can put a new seal in. And then give it a little rappy tappy. Went in. Just like that. I gotta go find my seal driver though. When you get your seal driver, there's a piece of 2.5-inch exhaust tubing because it just happens to work so perfectly amazing. Line that sucker up, tap it in. Complete. So once we get that sealed in there, the hardest part is actually getting these planetary gears to line up with that planetary ring. It's the hardest part. We're gonna give her everything we got.
It smells wonderful.
I love the smell of silicone, actually.
Really?
It's very vinegary.
It is.
I want some chips.
Salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar chips. Yep, so let's get that on there.
This isn't easy. But Chris is gonna get it on the first try.
Well, that's a statement. Sometimes it goes right on. It's pretty straight. It should just fall.
Oh, there it goes.
Woo! Yep, and then it just goes in. There. Ta-da! Now we just throw a bunch of bolts in it and put it back on the train.
It is a full house in the shop right now. Look at all this back here. Woo! We did have the chassis outside. We did some grinding and stuff yesterday. And I was gonna weld outside while Chris did some wiring stuff up here, but Mother Nature is totally working against me, and it's incredibly windy out, like 60 miles per hour. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it this windy out.
No,
here
it's like shaking the whole building. It's pretty extra out there right now.
Yeah, and the temp is supposed to drop like 30 degrees tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to weld the motor mount brackets on in here.
And we got to do some spring swapping to some 392 appropriate springs. So we don't have the sag.
Rock Crawler.
From our favorite people over at Rock Crawler. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get those installed first and do some cycling and make sure we got things stay out of the way. And then Miss Beck here will do some welding.
Yep, and then you're going to finish up the wiring.
And then I'll finish up the wiring while she's welding. And you know, like my favorite part when you get a harness, people don't cut it down, they just wrap it all up. So you have like 4 harnesses that are wrapped up into this gigantic ball. And so I'm chopping all that out of there.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Well, psych, you guys, we're not actually going to be putting these Rock Crawler springs in because they will not work with these shocks, like, at all.
Yeah, these shocks are way shorter than we anticipated.
Yeah.
So even with them off at ride height right now with the 3.5-inch springs on it with no motor, there's probably 1.5 inch space down there between the bracket and the shock. So I don't even think these are what he thinks they are. I think these are like stock Fox shocks. I'm gonna have to check these part numbers and see what we actually are working with here.
But we are gonna adjust the bump so that hopefully it'll be like a little bit better.
Yeah, because he's been breaking the shock bottoms out of this thing. And
slamming it down.
Now I know why.
Yeah, we'll touch base with you
Time
guys.
to do some math.
Yep.
So we just looked it up. They're 24.5 inches extended if they're for a 2 to 3 inch lift. And I think we got 4.5 inch lift springs. I don't think it's gonna work, but man, I don't know what springs these are. If these are 4.5, there is a distance in there and we're not even up all the way. Like there's a good 1.5 inches in there. We're gonna have to redo some stuff. Well, he definitely needs new shocks if he wants to go that tall or that much bigger. We definitely need new shocks. So, but for now, let's just set the bumps so that we can get the thing back on the ground and acting correctly right now.
Y'all already know that was my favorite part of the day. I guess we saved the best for last, which was welding these mounts on. And I think they turned out super pretty. Check them out.
She does a great job. I think she's better than I am. Can't even, beautiful.
Well, to be fair, I'm always stealing it from you now, so you might be a little rusty on your welding.
A long day.
Yep, that was the last work for me today.
I'm gonna wrap up the wiring, probably another 10 minutes. I got 2 more connections to make and we'll be done with the wiring. Tomorrow, I think we're gonna try to drop a motor in. What do you think?
Well, I think we are gonna do the springs because we left you guys off on that. We are going to put the rock crawler springs in.
Yeah, so these are 4-inch, and I guess the rock crawlers are 4.5, so they will fit for now. We're gonna call on Monday and see if we can get some new shocks coming in, but if not, these will work until the new ones get here.
And then also for tomorrow, we'll be finishing up the radiator.
Yeah, the problem is he's got a PSC cooler, and the cooler doesn't fit behind it with the oil cooler, so we're gonna have to bend some brackets up and make some space, and I think it'll fit. I think we can squeeze it in here.
Yeah, I think we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
All right, we will pick it back up tomorrow. It's that time. He's putting the strap around the Hemi because it's ready to go back into the frame.
Couldn't have picked a colder morning to do this. It's pretty brutally cold out. So now we gotta push this back out in the driveway, hook this back up with the forklift and drop it in.
She come out of break of night, and the pink skies waving goodbye. She come out of break of night, leaving no traces around. She's trying to free a reckless heart.
The demon child isn't looking so hot. Might have a little bit of a cold. Why, hello.
Pretty cold out here. Yeah, that's enough. All right, now we're just gonna make sure.
Woohoo! She's in.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, looking good. It's probably the scariest part of this whole thing. Just because there's so much to be jeopardized between like smashing something on the engine or fork truck malfunction,
You know.
driver operator malfunction. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But you never know, really, seriously. So, but that was flawless, easy.
We are officially halfway through. So now we just gotta wheel it back in. We gotta finish putting the trans harness on it, plumbing it to the chassis real quick, then we can drop the body on.
Heck yeah. If you have a skid underneath a 3.6, it will not fit with the 392. So we're just gonna do some minor adjustments here and make the drain hole bigger, just elongate it, and then also make some kind of bracket to mount the skid in the front with the engine mount. The hole is cut out of the skid plate. And the plan is to have the body down today.
So Beck's down here trying to get this, we're removing this this section so that we can finish the trans mount and leave it up to the last shop to break the tool off in there. So I don't know how we're gonna get this one off. I really don't want to drill this out. That's gonna suck. See how the other ones? The other ones are good. That one, not so good. So now the body is ready to go down. So there's the trans lines that go up and over, and they'll go up front to the cooler. We got the exhaust in. I got this evap line finished. So the evap, there's a little adapter that goes to the solenoid because they use factory parts, which is pretty neat. So then the exhaust is all in. It's just ready to go down. So we got all the accessory wires that he has for the rear all ran down the channel. Let's get this body down. All right, guys, we are back from SEMA. And yes, I shaved my face because it's the silly things you do for Halloween, right? Go figure. But check it out, new radiator showed up. So now we're gonna get this thing installed in that thing right there.
so that we can get it back in that thing right there. This radiator had a hole in it. It's unfortunate. So it stopped our progress for a couple of days. And we had an event to go to, so we're back. We got it swapped out, and it is now all installed in the new setup. So here's the new setup. It is a larger fan, which is pretty awesome. And it's a new style radiator. So let's get this thing installed. In that, we'll talk about this later. Pretend that's not here, but we need to get this radiator back in that. As you can see, we have the engine bay all cleaned up. We did install a PSC pump while we had the radiator out, while we had a little bit of extra time. So it does have a PSC pump in here. So I am gonna have to plumb this to this box and then out to the cooler that sits in front, and we'll get into that as soon as we get the radiator installed. But she's all together. So far, looks pretty sweet. I did clean up all this wiring, so there's no rat's nest in here, and I cleaned up all the wiring, and I ran all the wiring down to the front, so everything has a connector now. It's easy to take this thing apart the next time, or if we need to add anything to the grill or anything, we did put connectors here, so you don't have to chase all the wiring back up into here. So let's get that thing right there installed right here.
No time to worry about the past. Await the future to come at last. This time tomorrow, I will be gone. A faded memory, forever worn. I wanna wake up without sorrow.
And she runs. Now we're gonna pull some files off HP tuners. We'll get it all dialed in. I gotta do a bunch of learning processes on the throttle body and stuff, and then we'll take her for a test drive. This is getting pretty exciting. So we'll wait for her to come up to temp, and then hope for the best. Just kidding. It's gonna work just fine. There she is. She's up and running. She's all buttoned up. Liners are in it. Markers are in it. Everything's on it. Everything works. The spare tire carrier was adjusted and everything. So now we're just gonna take it for a test drive, line the steering wheel up, send the steering wheel up, and we'll get a hold of Craig and deliver it. So delivery went well. He's very happy, and I may or may not have forgotten to do this video a couple of days ago because we are currently on Drift Week. And this one's not really happy with me because I may or may not have forgot to do this a couple of days ago, but here's the ending. Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and share. And remember, you can get all your Lite Brite merch and decals at litebritstudios.com.
We'll see you next time.
Bye!
Yep, I've been ready.
Oh.
It's recording. That is come here, Chris.
It's a big box. The big thing's in it.
Oh my god. Okay. Give us a lowdown.
Turn the mic around.
Oh. Camera pro over here. Oh,
Oh, she broke it.
it's not broked.
Is this thing on?